Hello and welcome to episode 9 of our AGS Success Video Blog, bringing the science of learning to you at home. This week we're going to be talking about distractions. So I think we all know that students from time to time, especially teenagers, can become distracted when they're trying to do independent revision, certainly at home. But are there any reasons why this might be?
Yeah, through adolescence, the development of the brain, most of the development that's taking place is in the prefrontal cortex, which controls our executive functions, which amongst other things is our ability to make good decisions and control our impulses. So as that's developing in your brain, students will tend to rely more often on their more developed limbic system, which basically controls, again, amongst other things, our ability to process emotions, motivations and rewards. And what this imbalance means is that students are more likely to be responding to and reacting to kind of novel and interesting stimulus, but without the ability to actually control that.
Alright, so is it out of their control then? Is that what we're saying?
Not completely out of their control, but because their self-regulatory skills are developing, they have to work much harder than adults to control that. So what that means is then that actually at times they will display quite adult behaviours, and it will appear like they're completely able to kind of make good decisions and avoid just taking the easy option. But then at other times they can't do that, which then can obviously be very frustrating.
Right. So in terms of tips then for students and for parents, how can students then start to, what can they do to minimise those distractions and actually control their own behaviour then at home during these periods of study?
Yeah, well, we talked about for parents taking away a lot of those distractions, but also I think there's a certain amount of just students being aware that they are going to get distracted, and that's okay, and kind of rather than trying to avoid it, just accepting that it's going to happen and having a system built in for it. We talked in one of our previous sessions about study spaces, and one thing that we didn't mention is it can be really useful for students just to have a pad of paper or a little notepad or something to do a distractions to-do list. And then as they're working, anything that distracts them, just write it down on there. And then when it comes 25 minutes later to their break, they can deal with all those distractions. So they're not trying to avoid them because they are actually hardwired to engage with that stimuli, but instead make a note of it and manage that in terms of their time.
Perfect, great. And I know that whether it's students or adults, that will be useful for us all, I imagine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So specifically now for parents then, how can they support this at home?
I suppose support is the key word there, and just trying your best not to get frustrated and knowing that this isn't people trying to be awkward. It is actually the way that they are developing as they're becoming young adults, and actually these developments in executive functions have been proved to kind of continue well into the early 20s. So not being surprised that sometimes students are able to make correct choices and other times they're not, just giving a little bit of leeway and actually helping a little bit with, if you're noticing that people are always making the wrong choice and going on their Xbox, help them by taking that Xbox away, and don't necessarily talk of it in terms of a punishment, but more of, look, we know that you are going to get distracted by that, and we know together actually what you want to do is be successful, so let me help you to help yourself by taking this distraction out of the way, and just supporting really.
Perfect. We hope that's really helped, and like with all of our videos, you can see all of our archive content on our YouTube channel, on our social media networks, and if you want to let us know how these are helping at home, we'd be really like to see any comments underneath of how it's really making a difference at home. Thank you.